government deploys Nepal Army as per the integrated security plan ahead of the Constituent Assembly elections. Unified Maoist proposes directly elected president and identity-based 11 provinces in its election manifesto. Congress prepares its election manifesto with separate sections for Constituent Assembly and Legislature Parliament. UML to unveil its manifesto Tuesday. 6th Non-Resident Nepali Association General Convention kicks off in Kathmandu. And a plane carrying parachutist crashes in Belgium, killing all 11 people aboard. The news at 8. I'm Shivani Thapa Bosnip. Details now. Government has deployed Nepal Army as per the integrated security plan aiming to ensure foolproof security during the upcoming Constituent Assembly election. The army personnel will position them at the outer layer of the security ring in the polling stations. Nepal Police and Armed Police Force have also been deployed for providing security during the polls. The action of Nepal Army will depend on the level of security threat during emergency, reinforcements and in helicopter management. The army will also be mobilized during the carrying of ballot papers. The government plans to deploy 62,000 military personnel in 240 constituencies as per the integrated security plan. Meanwhile, the unified CPN Maoist has unveiled its manifesto for the upcoming Constituent Assembly elections. Party chairperson Pushpakamal Dahal Prachanda unveiled the manifesto entitled Commitment Paper amid a program at the Academy Hall in Kathmandu yesterday. The manifesto includes commitment for the new constitution, proportional and participatory democracy and federalism based on identity. The party has gone for a three-tier mechanism for form of governance that includes federal, provincial and local governance system. The party in its manifesto has also stressed on delineating 11 autonomous provinces based on ability, directly elected executive president and parliament elected prime minister to govern the country are also the agenda that Unified Maoist has included in its manifesto. Also, the party has gone for a Supreme Court at the centre, High Court in the states and local court at the districts in judicial system in the new Nepal. At the program, Leader Prachanda said the manifesto is not a mere declaration but a commitment for a real action. Coordinator of the Commitment Paper Draft Committee, Dr. Baburam Bhattarai, said the Unified Maoist has brought its election action plan as per the aspirations of the people. In the meantime, Nepali Congress has proposed separate blocks of Constituent Assembly and Legislative Parliament in its election manifesto. The party has prepared its election manifesto with perspectives of issuing new constitution, though a new Constituent Assembly making federal structure of the state based on identity and capability, Parliament elected Prime Minister, among others. Leader Prakash Sharan Mahat said the party in its manifesto has also included the role of Legislative Parliament. The party has stressed on issuing constitution within a year of election and remaining 4 years will be allotted for the works of Legislative Parliament. Leader Mahat said the party will soon make public its election manifesto. Meanwhile, CPN UML is all set to unveil its election manifesto the day after tomorrow. A meeting of the Central Election Mobilization Committee chaired by Party Secretary Yuvraj Giwali took the decision yesterday. Election Commission is preparing to launch a special voter education campaign to reduce the number of invalid votes. The Commission has targeted those districts that saw more than 5% of invalid votes in the last Constituent Assembly elections. There were 5% invalid votes among the total vote cast in the last election. In the last election, 11 districts of the Tarai and Boitari had more than 7% of rejected votes. In constituent number 2 of Saptari, 9.2% of total vote cast were invalid. The Commission has published and broadcast voters' education materials in 16 different ethnic languages. Some 30,000 teachers will be mobilized to educate the voters across the country. Well, we still have more news lined up, but coming up after this short break, do stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the news. Let's continue with the National Front. Senior UML leader KP Sharma Oli has claimed that the would-be formed Constituent Assembly will be strong, outcome-oriented and crucial for a political outlet. Oli was addressing an assembly organized by UML Lomjung chapter in Besi Sahar. Oli further said peace, democracy, people-elected government, equitable society, social justice and national integrity are the major mantras of his party. 10 candidates of UML are contesting in the 2 constituencies of Lomjung. The UML leader there, stating that the Constituent Assembly will determine the future of the nation. Chairman of Rashtriya Janamorcha, Chitra Bahadur Kesi, has urged all to support the elections. Kesi said elections is inevitable for succeeding the political gains so far. Kesi made the statement at a gathering in Ghorahi organized by Pragatishil Patrakar Sangh. Kesi also revealed that his party will be making public its manifesto on 22nd of October in Butwal. Kesi said the manifesto calls for a constitutional president and a parliament-elected prime minister. Only those Nepalis who stayed abroad for more than 2 years will be recognized as non-resident Nepali from now on. The 6th General Convention of Non-Resident Nepali Association that kicked off from Saturday amended their charter and changed its membership criteria. With this, the association now fulfills all conditions for its registration in Nepal. Earlier, any Nepalese residing in foreign nation for 183 days was eligible for to be an NRN. The convention will also elect a new executive committee on Sunday. Altogether, 5 candidates are vying for the post of president, while 35 others in different posts. New committee members will participate on non-resident World Convention on Monday and on Tuesday. Popular Narayan Jatra of Harigaon concluded today. This Jatra is popularly known as Kahi Nabhayeko Jatra Harigaonma. This Jatra is celebrated in Harigaon on the next day of Kozagrat Purnima, that is the last day of Dasai. Myths have it that princes of Harigaon became pregnant after 14 years after performing this Jatra to please Lord Satyanarayan. Major speciality of this Jatra is that the pinnacle of the chariot carrying Lord Satyanarayan is placed upside down. It is also called Chokare Jatra locally. We are yet to look into the international updates, but that would be after this. Thank you for staying back on this side. Let's check out some of the international headliners. A plane carrying parachutist planning to celebrate a birthday with a skydive crashed in Belgium on Saturday, killing all 11 people aboard. Minutes after the aircraft took off from a small airfield near the city of Namur, witnesses saw part of a wing break off, sending the plane into a spiraling nosedive. The victims were almost all between the ages of 20 and 40. Everyone on board was killed and no one was hurt on the ground, and 3 parachutes were found near the crash site. The 11 victims were not immediately identified by name, and the cause of the accident was being investigated. Opposition supporters in the Maldives have staged protests after police intervened to stop the presidential election from taking place. Police prevented ballot papers from being sent out on Saturday, saying 2 of the 3 candidates had failed to approve the registry of voters. The Election Commission has accused the police of exceeding their mandate. The Maldives has been in turmoil since ex-President Mohammad Nasheed was ousted in disputed circumstances in 2012. The first round of the election, held earlier this month, was won by Mr. Nasheed, the Maldives' first democratically elected president. But that result was annulled and the second round of voting postponed amid allegations of electoral fraud, although international monitors said the process had been free and fair. Hundreds of Chileans dressed in colorful zombie costumes made up on torn clothing and wigs pulled off their best impersonations in Santiago's annual zombie walk on Saturday. Participants, mostly young people, wore clothes splattered with red paint to signify blood, and many put on white face paint to give off a ghastly look. They walked at a slow pace, many almost limping along the streets of the Chilean capital. The tradition of zombie walks started in the United States and then spread to Europe and Latin American countries. This is the 4th annual zombie walk in Santiago. And time for some business updates at home now. Walnut business has plunged by more than 50% this year in the hilly districts of far western region. This has upset walnut traders in Dar el Dhura, who used to sell hundreds of kilograms of walnut in a day. Walnut is sold up to 400 per kilogram. Walnut business is the major trade during the season in Dar el Dhura. And time for some sporting updates. In sports, we are carrying the dramatic India-Australia ODI while lifting India from 76 for 4 to 303 for 9. MS Dhoni had spoiled James Faulkner's figures at death at the 3rd ODI in Mohali, Punjab. Faulkner took it out and the death in Australia's chase. Rarely, if ever, has a bowler lost it so completely while bowling to a fellow bowler. Australia needed 44 of 18 when Ishant Sharma was given the ball. 6 balls and 30 runs later, off Faulkner's bat, the game was effectively over. Slamming 4 sixes, a 4 and running a 2. 30 of Ishant and bring the equation down to a very manageable 14 of 12. Indian captain MS Dhoni, who had hit the 3rd highest score for a number 6 batsman to lift his wobbling side to above 300, admitted that the bowling is a headache that is getting worse for the Indian team. And that's all we're having for you in sports time. Now we check the weather update. The forecasting division says the weather in the next 12 hours is likely to be generally cloudy over the central and western regions and partly cloudy over the eastern hilly region and far western hilly region of the country, with temporary rain at a few places. Mainly fair weather conditions is predicted in the rest of the country. Let's have the details. And before we call it a wrap-up, let's have a quick look at what we had in our headlines this hour. Government deploys Nepal Army as per the integrated security plan ahead of the Constituent Assembly elections from today. Unified Maoist proposes directly elected president and identity-based 11 provinces in its election manifesto. Congress prepares its election manifesto with separate sections for Constituent Assembly and Legislature Parliament. YNL to unveil its manifesto on Tuesday. 6th Non-Resident Nepali Association General Convention kicks off in Kathmandu. And a plane carrying parachutists crashes in Darjeeling, all 11 people aboard. And that's all having of the English news. Until we see you at noon with yet another bulletin, this is Shivani Thapa Boston saying goodbye and